folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our book for today is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Now, this is the first book in the Charlie Bucket duology by Roald Dahl. Oh, and this was illustrated by Quentin Blake. Now, there are slightly deadly situations in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Okay, the publisher of this is Viking, which I think is maybe a branch of Penguin? That looks like Penguin Press, doesn't it? But yeah, this was published by Viking. Well, I was certain by Penguin because I've seen the logo. But yeah. Okay. So I have, this is the first time I've read the book, but I have seen the movie. More accurately, I've seen the Tim Burton movie from 2005. The one where Johnny Depp plays Willy Wonka. Now, I know there's a movie before that. I don't know what year, because this came out originally in 1964. Holy shit. Watson? I think that's Watson meowing. Sorry. Yeah, it came out in 1964. So yeah, I don't know how long it was until they filmed the first movie. But yes, right, so plot, we have young Charlie Bucket. He's a young boy, I guess maybe he's about 9 or 10, he's never told us. He's very, very poor. He lives in a very old and beat-up cottage with his mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Bucket, and his 4 grandparents, Josephine and Joe, and Georgina and George. Mr. Dahl didn't really put a lot of thought into these names. I mean, they're very similar, you have to agree. Yeah. So he lives with them, and they're all very, very poor. They barely have enough to eat. And that's it. That's his life. Now, in the city they live in, there's this big legendary factory, Willy Wonka's factory. And every day when Charlie goes to and from school, he always sees the factory, and it's his dream, not a dream, but, he'd like to go in there. And now Charlie, every year on his birthday, gets some chocolate. But not Willy Wonka chocolate, though. So life goes on until suddenly, after no communication from Mr. Wonka for 10 years, he comes out with an announcement that there will be 5 golden tickets in his chocolate bars, and that 5 lucky children could win, and they will get to spend the day inside his factory. He'll give them a tour. And so that's begin the craze of people buying his candy bars to get that ticket. And to get a ticket. And every time one is found, Charlie's dad brings home a newspaper to read about the child. So the first one is found by a fat kid named Augustus. And the second one by a spoiled rich girl named Veruca. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Then a girl named what was her name again? It says here on the back. I forget her name. Violet, and a boy named Mike. Violet is suppose she's obnoxious, I guess, because she chews gum all day. And Mike really loves to watch TV and wants to be a gangster. So they are the bad children. and they all get a ticket. And Charlie, now for his birthday, his parents buy him a Willy Wonka chocolate bar. And they're all excited and hope that maybe he'll also win a ticket, but it doesn't happen. Then they try again. Grandpa Joe gives his savings to buy another one, but unfortunately, that one's also a dud. And then, things get worse. The dad loses his job. He's the only one who has a job. I will say, it's interesting in the book, they're originally in their 90s, all the grandparents. They're like, holy shit. Surprised that, I can't really move, but it's just, later on, it's funny. So anyway, Dad loses his job, they have even less to eat, and they're all starting to starve. And when Charlie goes home one day, when it's very cold and snowing, he finds $1 in the gutter, takes it and goes to a shop and buys a chocolate bar. But then he buys and he eats it, he's starving, and then he eats another chocolate bar. And he gets another one, he opens it, and inside there's a golden ticket. He found the last golden ticket. Yeah, and everyone crowds around him because the shopkeeper yelled, "Hey, he found the ticket in my shop," and some people offer to buy it from him, but the shopkeeper shoos them away and tells them to go straight home. And then he goes home and he shows his whole family, and they're all excited and who's going to go with him. And it's decided that Grandpa Joe will. So the next day, because he got the ticket like right the day before they were all supposed to go. So all of them, they all meet there, all the children are waiting, there's crowds of people, police, news people. They're all waiting. And then at 10 a.m., the factory opens and Mr. Wonka comes out. And apparently originally he had a goatee, which I found funny. Because in both versions of the movies, I guess the directors are like, okay, we're not gonna do the goatee. Found that funny. So I can't imagine Willy Wonka with a beard or a goatee, when you read the character. You feel like he'd be baby smooth, shaved. So they all go in the factory. Willy Wonka starts telling them about the factory. Now the factory closed for many years because it used to have regular employees, but because the other factories sent spies and they stole recipes, Mr. Wonka fired everyone. And then for years there was no one there, and then suddenly he came back. And everyone's wondering who's working for him then. So yeah, you see around the factory, we learn of the Oompa Loompas, which were from some jungle, and their lives wasn't great. So they went, so Mr. Wonka offered them, hey, want to come with me? Because they love eating cocoa beans. They said, I'll pay you in cocoa beans if you work for me. And so he took all of them back to the city and into his factory. And yeah, so we go, and there's a process of elimination. All the other 4 children, besides Charlie, do what they're not supposed to do and, essentially get fucked over. Augustus falls into a chocolate river and gets taken up a pipe. Violet chews a gum she shouldn't and explodes not explodes, but she's as big as a balloon. And Veruca falls down where the squirrels are opening nuts. They throw her in the trash. And Mike gets turned really small. And each time Mr. Wonka orders his Oompa Loompas to do something. Interesting, in the book, each kid has both parents, except Charlie was just there with his grandfather. Guess they decided to change that, at least in the Tim Burton movie. Don't know about the other one. Until, at last, there's only little Charlie left, and Mr. Wonka's very happy about it. And then he takes them on this glass elevator, and they fly out of the factory, and they go to his house. He's like, you see, Charlie, I'm getting old and I want someone to inherit the factory. And that's why I invited 5 children. I wanted to see which one I liked best and would stay. And that would be the kid that would inherit the factory 1 year older. So, right, let's go to your house and collect your family, and you'll live in the factory until you're old enough and you can take over it for me. Because I don't want to take a grown-up that won't do things like how I want. And that's it. Now, Charlie and his family won't starve anymore, definitely. And they're gonna live in the factory. And that's where the story ends. So that was an interesting little ride. I will say this is one of the rare cases where I will say the movie was better, I think. At least I liked the movie better. Again, I've only seen the Tim Burton one. I don't know about the other one. But I like what Tim Burton did, what changes he did to the story. Because he slightly changed the children as well, mainly Violet and Mike. I feel like he gave them a bit more personality and a bit more, maybe not a massive amount of character, but still he somehow gave the whole characters a little bit more there. Spoilers for the movie, although I think a lot of people have seen it. I like the little bits he added in, like how Grandpa Joe actually used to work in the factory for Mr. Wonka when he was young. I thought that was nice, because then, he tells Charlie all these stories, and especially how he gave the grandparents a bit more personality, too. Because, for instance, Grandpa George is, very grumpy in the movie, and there's one time where he starts swearing. Of course, it's, you don't hear it, but still. I like that more. At least it made them more animated. And also, slight changes they give to Charlie, because when he gets the chocolate the second time, he shares it with his family. Though he offers to do it in the book, but in the book they all refuse. And also, like what he did with Willy Wonka, for instance. Now, in the movie, he doesn't, he doesn't want to take Charlie's whole family. He just wants to take Charlie in. But Charlie's, needs to leave his family to come be his protege. I like how in the movie, now the dad doesn't have a job again. He works, gets a few pennies shoveling snow, but obviously that's not enough to feed a family. Now, in the movie, he got another job fixing, because he would screw screw caps on toothpaste tubes. And after the factory he worked for got a machine, they got all fired. And now he's the one to repair it. And now thinking about it today, I thought, wait, so did he get more work after that? I mean, the machine's not going to break every week, right? And he started working as a repairman, I don't know. But yeah, and now what I liked is I remember the part where he takes caps that aren't good and he brings it home to Charlie, and Charlie in his room, which in the movie he sleeps in the attic, and he recreates the factory with the caps. I thought that was a really nice touch, looking back on it now. So yeah, and that was Willy Wonka. I like the story with him that his dad was a dentist. I mean, he was a dentist, a really good dentist. And, of course, he took care of his own son's mouth, braces and everything. Told him, don't eat candy, don't eat sugar. But Willy Wonka really wants to eat candy, and there's a fight between him and his dad. And his dad tells him, if you go, I won't be here when you come back. I don't remember where he went. Anyway, he got candy for the first time. And then when he came home, his dad was gone. And I like it. Right after Charlie says, well, I can't, I'm not going to leave my family. And that's it. There's something in the papers about Willy Wonka, and then he meets Charlie again, and Charlie goes with him to find his father using that elevator. And then the movie ends with I guess now that now his family still lives in the factory in the end, but I love how he just brought the whole house into the factory. That was that was a funny scene. Well, at least now they won't be cold. There's a lot of nice differences. It is funny because in the movie the Oompa Loompas are just men. I don't remember if it said, because in the book, there's men, women, and children. Now, the men work in the factory, and you can see the women and children in their own little cities there, because they're very short. They're, like, up to your knee, basically. That was funny. And how they all... I remember in the movie, I think they all looked exactly the same, almost, no? Can't remember now. Yeah, it was a lot. That was funny. So I like that bit with Willie. Gave him a bit more, more personality, more backstory than what he had. So I guess they could have just had him take the. Oh yeah, and I noticed this with Roald Dahl, that he in his books, at least the ones I've read, had some pretty deadly moments that just kind of. Like brushed off by the characters, like it's not that bad. There's so many times in this book here, like where Veruca, the spoiled rich girl, she falls into the garbage chute, and her parents are freaking out and it's like, where does the garbage chute go? And then Willy Wonka says, to the furnace. It's just, oh no, she'll be turned crisp. It's just so nonchalant, I mean, it's fine. It's just hilarious. Because you know as an adult, these are some fucking deadly situations. And here it's like, it's okay. And it's very fucking grim. It's the same thing, and spoilers for The Witches by Roald Dahl, where in the end, which here I also like the movie more, but here, you got the original movie. Yeah, not the new one. In The Witches, now in the end of the book, the little boy there, he stays a mouse. And he asks his grandma, Grandma, how long mice live? And she said, 3 or 4 years, something like that. And he's like, oh, good. When you think of the implication, basically, oh, good, then, I won't outlive you, Grandma. I will die, and then you will die. I mean, holy shit. I don't remember if that little boy didn't have any parents. I think maybe he didn't have any parents. Because in the movie, what they did was the one good witch, she goes to his house and she turns him back into a little boy. It's just... I mean, shit. I just noticed this in Roald Dahl's, in his books. Again, at least the 3 that I've read. It's kind of like, holy fuck. But yeah, that's, when I read some more, I'm curious to see if there's, more like these, and I'm sure there are. Yeah, I guess this is kind of style. Yeah, overall, though I do like the movie better, I also enjoyed the book. It's a nice little adventure to go on, to read. I mean, the idea of the factory itself is pretty cool. There's some magic involved in there, because none of that stuff could happen in reality. And, looks like Roald Dahl wasn't a fan of telly. Understandable, I do agree. It very much rots the brain. Oh, yeah, it's a nice one. Now, I did say in the beginning that this is a duology. Apparently, there's a second book. And in the second book, Charlie goes on an adventure, I think with his grandfather Joe again, and Mr. Wonka, to space in the glass elevator. I can see why they never made a sequel movie with that one. That'd probably have been a bit too jarring. Just imagine you're 1 minute you're in the, a regular town, you got a bit of magic maybe going on with the factory, and the next minute you're in space with aliens. It's like, what? Because Mr. Wonka's quite old. Because Grandpa Joe remembers him when he was young. You know, he heard of Mr. Wonka, so I guess he's over 100 years old or something like that. And I was like, wow. So yeah, there you go. Alright, let me show you some illustrations by Quentin Blake. He illustrated quite a few of Roald Dahl's books, actually. I recognize his illustrations are in Matilda, the book, and in Witches, I think, too. There's one, you see there's Mr. Wonka, and the chocolate fountain. And then they are on the boat. Yes, it really makes me want to rewatch the movie again, and I normally don't really watch movies, but I think I might. Just want to go back. Just, and then you see, there's Charlie with his granddad, and there's, Violet with her parents, and little Augustus, and, Mike, and, Veruca, and I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing her name. I'm not sure. Maybe it's supposed to be German? I don't know. There's that moment where Charlie buys the candy bars. See? In the movie, I remember it was a lady, because then the movie just finds $1, and I think he wants to buy another chocolate bar again. Well, another thing as well, in the movie, they buy Charlie every year a Wonka chocolate bar. But in the book, they just buy regular chocolate. So I think it's a nicer touch. It makes more sense. I mean, I know the Wonka, I think maybe bars are a little more expensive, but still. And also, in the movie, you see Charlie, he has the candy wrappers from the Wonka. Candy bars, he has them, stick to his wall. I think it's stuck to his wall, or I think maybe he keeps them in a box. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, nice little touches, you know? Yes, overall, I enjoyed myself. It makes me want to go see the movie. Not go to the theater, but yeah, see the movie again. Hell, maybe one day I'll even watch the first movie they made. We'll see. Yeah, so that's it. Let's see, you want to read a little adventure. I would recommend this one, or if you like Roald Dahl books and haven't read this one yet, I would recommend it. It's a nice one. I also like the colorfulness of the cover. You see his hair is gray here, but it's actually black in the book. And it's got the goatee. I still find it funny how they just foregone the goatee. I guess they're like, ooh, that kind of ruins the image. Hey. Alright, so that is it, folks. Let me know if you've read this book and what you think about it. Did you know there was a sequel? And that's it. Now remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!